In today's video, I'd like to talk about one of the most attractive parts of podcasting 2.0, and that's the whole value for value concept. More specifically, the technology that's in place, which is streaming the lowest denomination of Bitcoin called Satoshis back to podcast creators. What is a Boostagram? Boostagram is part of this ecosystem. I think this is the most important feature for podcasting 2.0 adoption, for your average person to really understand and for a creator to really wrap their head around. Let's talk about why Boostagrams are so important. Let's talk about what Boostagrams are. Before we do, that's how I bury the lead. Before we do, you have to zoom out and understand what happens with podcasting 2.0 and streaming Satoshis. As a podcast creator, you put out your podcast. Folks can subscribe to your podcast using any of the new podcasting 2.0 apps, which you can find at newpodcastapps.com. And while using one of those apps or any app that supports the podcasting 2.0 namespace, more specifically Boostagrams and streaming Satoshis, as the listener has subscribed to your podcast and they're actively listening to your show, what they're doing is they're setting a minimum to stream these Satoshis, this form of payment, back to you, the podcast creator. This is what makes up the value for value system and why it makes sense, because as they're listening to your show, they're giving you what they feel is a valuable amount of payment or support as they consume your content. And it encourages them to continue to listen, to continue to give you some of those Satoshis. It encourages you as the creator to create the best show possible because you want people to continue to listen. The more they listen, the more streaming sats you get, the more Bitcoin you earn, the more that goes into your wallet. But I still think that's a little bit difficult for most folks to wrap their head around. They're thinking cryptocurrency. They're thinking about, okay, now I have to set how much I'm streaming to this person, what really is the value. Boostagrams, on the other hand, are these more static moments. These are the moments where it's like hitting a like button on Facebook or your favorite social media post. And a Boostagram allows the listener to, number one, still support you, the creator. This is a one-time click. They're using the app. They say, hey, this is an amazing part of the show. I laughed really hard at a joke that somebody just told. I learned something amazing, or that story that I just heard was just so compelling. I want to click a button and hand over a bunch of Satoshis all at once. As the user, you get to decide how much the Satoshis that you hand over is, but it's a form of support. I don't want to use the word tip because I know that doesn't fit in the tips versus value for value model, but as a way to support a creator. And it's that in the moment thing. It's when I'm going to give it to you is right when I laugh, cry, or learn something really amazing. Because Boostagrams use, you have the button you press and you assign how many sats you want to send. Most apps, newpodcastapps.com, support a message, a text message, a Boostagram. And you get to give some feedback to the creator of the podcast at the moment that you send that over to them. And I think that that's what really makes this powerful. One of the hardest things for podcasters is to get that active feedback, is to see that feedback on the fly when somebody's listening to an episode. What moment in that episode did most people really, have a lot of feedback or get a lot of action or a lot of, support from? Boostagrams allow the podcast creator to really get that feedback. You're getting a tip, of course, but more importantly, you're getting somebody typing a message to you, both positive and negative, which is great. And you can do it right in the app. And number three, I think what we're going to see Boostagrams evolve to in terms of a technology is that pressing that button will cause an action. Right now, it's the action of getting some money, getting some currency into your podcaster wallet, and you're getting some feedback, and those two are very powerful. But I think as technology evolves, as more adoption of podcasting 2.0 happens, and the new podcasting apps get a little bit better, we're going to see some really fun things unlock. Now, we talk a lot about private podcasting here at Castos, using your traditional payment methods, Stripe, PayPal, etc. Somebody buys something, they get subscribed to a private podcast over here, they get the feed delivered to them. I think we'll see more actions, more integrations happen in the future if I were predicting out into 2022. So at the end of the day, what's the biggest difference between your average tip or buy me a coffee versus the value for value system? More importantly, how that compares up to Boostagrams. The biggest thing with Podcasting 2.0, and if you are on the cryptocurrency bandwagon, then you are loading up a digital wallet as a listener, and you're sending that support to the creator in the app. See, with traditional podcasting, my podcasts, I'll tell people to go to my Buy Me a Coffee link, and they'll have to leave the app or remember to go to the app, minimize the app, and load up a whole other website, and then take all of those steps to make that happen. The Boostagram happens inside of the native listening app. So whether you're or not you're listening to it on a web-based app like CurioCaster, which I've reviewed on the channel before, or you're listening to it on a mobile app with an app like Fountain, which I will be reviewing on the channel pretty soon, it's happening real time in the app without leaving. And I think that's why Boostagrams are the most important feature for Podcasting 2.0 for the year 2022 coming up, both as well, the Podcasting 2.0 movement, and for you, the podcast creator, to get people to support you using the value for value methodology system. I'm sure the folks over at Podcasting 2.0 will let me know what the proper term is. Support, feedback, and action, all powered by Boostagrams. I think it's the best feature. All right, thumbs up if you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you want more. Learn more about Podcasting 2.0 at podcastindex.org.